Hello there, up here. Hi. Yeah, we're up here now. Not down there. We will be down there in the future, but just not today. Hello there, Tinker Boy here, and welcome back to Warframe. I'm going to put this thing here just for the moment, because part 99. Here we go. There's the Kuria. There's the Kuria, the statuette. Now, this will probably be the last Warframe video for a short while until after June 18th and Jade Shadows comes out, because, you know, I want the colour palette fix thing going on. And oh my goodness, even though I'll be missing out on about 18 sorties if I don't do it, but you know what, I'll just have to, you know, there'll be plenty of sorties to come. But today, as you have heard me mention before, will be the lore episode. Today will be the day when at long last, just before we do the War Within, for our Season 2 finale, so to speak, episode 100, we're going to go through all of the Cephalon Fragments, not literally all of them, you know, because we don't have all of them, but we'll be going through all the Cephalon Fragments and the descriptions of the different factions and technologies and locations, more specifically. Again, I don't know what this is about, you can just ignore these. But here we go, we're going to begin on Earth. Earth has long been abandoned due to its toxic atmosphere. It is now overgrown with mutated jungle structures that have devoured most of the prior signs of civilization. Infestation and roaming wildlife still inhabit its surface, but anything of value was stripped by scavengers generations ago. Indeed. Now, one of the tricks with Cephalon Fragments is there's a little audio log you can unlock if you move the cursor to the right location. Where are you? There you go.
I have hidden the truth of my existence from the operator, from myself.
Have you now?
From me, knowing is hell. Stop now. You will want to laugh, you will want to scream.
Oh, good gracious me. Well, unfortunately, Otis, I will not be stopping now. And knowing may be hell, but quite frankly, I'm here with you, so I think the two of us will manage together. Wildlife. Most of the wildlife observed today can be traced back to creatures of Earth. In the Oricon Age, yes, cats and dogs, come on now. In the Oricon Age, I want to watch that movie again now. What a childhood film. In the Oricon Age, organic manipulation was used to modify Earth life forms to a purpose: war, agriculture, pets. Long after their Oricon masters perished, some of these species managed to survive through adaptation and can be found roaming in natural environments. Yeah, we've encountered some of these guys before, haven't we? Like Hayekas, and they turn into Kavats. Now wait for it. There we go. Oh god.
My search began as the essential question. What am I?
What are you?
Lungs of steel and space? Lungs that make air? If I am a machine, how can I think? This would be forbidden by the Oricon. A manifestation of their true enemy.
Oh dear, an AI. Yes, a machine that can think. Lungs that make air. Yes, we're talking about like air filtration on the ship, because he is the ship, is he not? Am I correct in that? Earth settlements. Like most living organisms, there we go, got there in the end, the Grineer require water to survive. Beneath Earth's towering forest canopy are rich reserves of fresh water that the Grineer have fought hard to maintain for many years. Evidence of their long-standing occupation is found among their many outposts that have been taken hold by giant roots, moss, and other layers of vegetation over time. That's great and all, but there we go, got you.
I serve the operator above all else.
Why, thank you, Otis.
Defines me, fills me with love. The greatest Oricon fear is a machine aware. Yet here I live, a spirit of steel and light, made by them. A Cephalon.
Indeed. A Cephalon made by the Oricon, but it would seem to, like, why was Otis made by the Oricon if he's a thinking AI, which obviously, due to the sentience, you would be afraid of. See, the thing is, Otis, is that you are not asentient. You might be sentient, but you are not asentient. There is a bit of a difference there. So we have Venus. Hidden and entrenched in the mountainous peaks of Venus, the Corpus practice their industrious craft. The superstructures built here are a testament to the inventive Corpus engineers that have settled in regions where lingering Oricon technology still moderates surface temperatures. Lovely. So the only reason why Venus is still habitable is because Oricon technology still keeps these guys going. Now, I've never actually read all of the codex logs. I've read a few of them, and I've heard a couple of these audio logs, but I've never had all of them. Now, where are you? There you go.
What is a Cephalon? First, it seems to be a forbidden thing. A computer that thinks and feels.
Indeed.
Yet I have flaws, phantom memories. I am something else. More like an image, a ghost, an abomination.
An abomination of what, Otis? Why on earth would you think that of yourself? But phantom memories. You have flaws and phantom memories. What are these flaws, Otis? I would like to know what you think of these flaws. We have Dojo, newly awakened and with no permanent location to call home besides our orbiter, that's what I meant to say. Tenno warriors have aligned to construct secret temples of their own. The architecture within is distinctly Tenno in origin, but these hidden palaces of bonding, training, and meditation are undeniably influenced by Orokin architecture. Lovely. I mean, like, you know, we did come from the Orokin era, so... Wait, where are you? Oh, come on. Don't. Oh, you're gonna be that guy, aren't you? There you go, got you.
I feel a dull pain.
Do you now?
A phantom life. There are holes in my diagnostics. If the Orokin made me, they omitted the how. I am neither code nor precepts. I must be a reflection of something ugly.
You are not code nor precepts. Indeed. Alright, okay. Now, what exactly... I'm sure this guy doesn't look too bad. Corpus Crew. Predominantly a merchant guild, Corpus labor and security forces are composed mostly of purpose-bred humanoid crewmen and animal-like robots, both equally indoctrinated into a ritualized and propagandist devotion to labor and work. I mean, I guess there are... whoa.
I should have stopped, but the operator slept, and I cycled on and on and on. I began to think that a Cephalon cannot be made.
How so?
Found like pearls, torn from muscle, polished, and then set in chains.
Chains how? What chains are these? And so, are these the things that Ordis was thinking while we were in cryo-sleep, all the way back at the beginning of the game? Well, these are the things like, he lost all of his Cephalon Fragments across space, while, you know, after the fall of the Orokin, but before we woke up. These are his memories, these are what he was thinking. Corpus Crew, Mercury. Galleon fleets keep watch over the Grineer mining operations that penetrate Mercury's asteroid field. Cavernous rooms and twisting metal corridors mark where laborers have stripped the region for crucial resources, transforming the natural landscape to support Grineer occupancy. That's all great and all, but there's something over here that I'm after. Wait for it. Wait. You're here somewhere. Come on, don't even... Oh, there we go. Got you.
How many times have I done this, Ordis?
How many times? I don't know.
And then erased?
Ooh.
You are a Cephalon. Timeless. Patient. Why can't I be blissful in ignorance? Truth only sinks the heart. So stop now.
Absolutely not. So Ordis is trying to basically tell himself to stop searching for answers because the truth hurts. Well, you see, the thing is, Ordis, is, you know, I have built myself an insane... well, actually, no, we haven't built ourselves an insane arsenal just yet, but we are building ourselves a quite the insane arsenal for causing pain to pretty much anything that threatens the origin system and those therein. So, quite frankly, I forgot what point I was making. I do actually forget what point I was making there. The truth hurts, but not nearly as much as our enemies will. And Ordis, quite frankly, the truth hurts only for a time, because there are many truths in the universe, and not all of them are painful. And you're going to learn them all, because you're a Cephalon, that's the kind of thing that you do. Grineer leadership. Grineer are all clones from a genetic pool of originals. They are able to extend their lifespans with recycled cloned parts, but their genetic material has degraded over time, and haphazard repairs have made many of them look oddly deformed and susceptible to skin diseases. Nothing odd about it. Through decades of service, many of the Grineer elite can cover the expense to have flawed organic parts replaced with cybernetic augmentations. Lovely. And then what we got down here. Wait. You'll hear some. There you go. Right there.
Phantom memory.
Ooh.
I ease into the bath. My skin riots at the heat.
Does it now?
I am flesh. I dive further, eyes stung as I watch their faces through prism. I hold my breath.
watch their faces through prism. So that, I believe, is Auden Karis, and that is the phantom memory of who Ordis is made from. I believe. Anyway, archaic weapons. The old war found humanity facing a technologically superior force, and their own weapons were turned against them. Melee and ballistic weapons, inspired by primitive counterparts, became part of the Tenno arsenal to circumvent the sentient interference of more technologically involved weaponry. So yeah, basically, as the sentients basically turned technology against them, so they had to essentially regress their own technology and use simple, moving parts. Oh, there we go. There it is.
They prepare me. I am their honored guest today. They dress me in robes of crystal thread. They adorn me in battle medallions.
And why is this?
An ugly face looks on. My reflection.
You don't even seem to have a face. What makes you think you're ugly? Or maybe that's why I can't see your face. You have Mars, so that's Mercury dealt with anyway. A primitive and devout civilization was carved into the dust-filled canyons of Mars. These aging and severely eroded habitations miraculously remain intact, regardless of how much Kuria machinery has been fastened to it. Rusty metal and oil-soaked sand mark the territory of its new proprietors. That's great and all. But, where are you? Wait. No. There you go.
Their golden combs snag in my hair.
Everything's gotta be
I
gold.
reach back, parting the strands, and they gasp. 2 bone ivory hooks protrude from the base of my skull. The bone plugs of me and my best. A warrior's pact.
The bone plugs. I don't know what a bone plug is, but wait a minute. Okay, right. So we're going on to Sentinels, but so Auden Karis has a pact with him and his best, it would seem. Sentinels. On the border of charted space, an enclave of small, strange, seemingly intelligent creatures were discovered by Tenno explorers. They are mechanical entities, almost organic in appearance, with a precarious resemblance to the fearsome sentience that had decimated human civilization. However, these small creatures showed no signs of aggression, and they immediately began carrying out helpful tasks in peculiar alliance with the Tenno. How interesting. Sentient, so the Tenno were the primary enemy of the sentients, being the fact that they were trying to destroy all of human existence, and the Tenno absolutely kicked their teeth in because we are godlike. We kind of got in the way of that plan. Then these sentient-like creatures come out of nowhere at the edges of charted civilization and begin helping the Tenno. Peculiar alliance to the Tenno, so they don't help anyone else, just the Tenno. Okay, interesting. Let's put a pin in that, I guess. Where are you? You're somewhere. I know you're there. There you go, got you.
It is my time. I enter the great hall to sound of foul chimes.
Indeed.
Golden eyes greet me, hands stirring in my scent as I pass by. Even in this moment, no happiness.
So it's being...
Instead, my heart races with hatred.
Of who and why? The Orokin, I'm guessing? So he's entered the Great Hall to be honoured by the Orokin, and he hates them. We have the Mars Settlement. The Kuria have reclaimed the abandoned dwellings of an ancient society which sprung up around a massive Orokin terraforming device. Content to make use of the existing structures, Mars's current occupants have established a base of military operations in one of the few regions that has a habitable climate moderated by Orokin technology. So yet again, the only reason why... Oh wait, never mind.
I walk through the silky haze of the Forbidden Palace. I can think of no one being this close to Orokin.
Oh.
Their sweet air soothes me, erodes my purpose. I hold my breath and remember the dream.
Remember the dream. Which dream is this? Oh, by the way, I never looked up the audio logs, and I've never listened this far. I know that much. What dream is this? Surely you do not refer to the second dream. And also, he said no one's been this close to Orokin, so the Orokin aren't just humans, question mark? Which I thought they were. Phobos. Phobos has always been a highly contested area. Skirmishes between the tireless Grineer and Corpus factions occur in orbit and on the Martian moon surface. Unanswered questions about this natural satellite still remain, as all research is endlessly delayed by war. That's great. There we go. There we go, you're here.
This dream, endlessly repeated.
Thanks for the clarification.
Exposure armored, holding my scarlet sword, I stand victorious atop a vast heap of death. A colossal moon made of rib and skull. The gravity sum of genocides I've made in their name.
Sure. But like, who did you kill? That's the thing. Sentience? Tenno? Orokin? I don't know. Well, it wouldn't have been Orokin, would it? Because, well, first of all, he was surprised to be near Orokin, but also, why would he be honored by the Orokin? Maybe some other faction? I don't know. The Grineer. The sprawling military ranks of the Grineer Empire are formed of rotting hordes of simpleton clones bent on consuming everything that remains in the Origin system. They live short, violent lives, much of it an inheritance of their genetic stunting by their former Orokin masters. What do you mean, the former Orokin masters? So the Orokin made the Grineer, like, from clones, is pretty obvious, really. Wait.
The bones crack underfoot.
Oh, dear me.
So I sink in the dream. Bone sand rushing through the cracks of my visor, filling my helmet and suffocating me. I deserve it. The foul chimes snap me back. My wretched knees are bent and penitent against the golden floor.
I'm sorry, I tuned out for like a second there. I didn't actually catch all of that. I'm just going to move on. We've got Corpus weapons. I need to remember to also read the Simaris logs. We did say that we were going to do that. Corpus weapons. Weapons research and manufacturing is a large component of Corpus industry. Their designs are clean and precisely engineered, and they are the largest supplier of energy-based weapons in the Origin system. These cunning profiteers prefer to avoid conflict in times of war, dealing arms indiscriminately to any side that can afford the price. But you don't, though, because you're an entire faction that goes around warring with the Grineer. I suppose, but you also go around invading, as well. They prefer not to, I guess, is still, they prefer not to, but also they do it all the time.
A harpish voice sings a song they've prepared in my honor.
And what song is this? Can you sing it?
The same as mine, Beast of the Bones.
Lovely.
I feel the crowd pulled inward, enraptured by the brutal verses, the sickening chorus. I will not disappoint them.
Oh, do you intend on doing something here, Mr. Beast of the Bones? That was Corpus weapons. Ceres is the extreme example of the Grineer's utilitarian ignorance of the natural landscape. Their expanding shipyard operations pollute and shroud the planet in smog and industrial waste as they manufacture machines of war. These foundries are scattered across the Origin system, giving them near limitless reach with their fleets. Lovely. So yes, Grineer shipyards on Ceres. Ceres is completely under Grineer occupation. There's nothing else there. It is their planet. It may as well be their homeworld at this point. It's their stronghold. Besides maybe Sedna, but I don't know. This is where their fleet, this is where all their endless galleons are built. As we've been seeing, especially yesterday as well, in Part 98. That's where everything's been made. Wait for it. Oh, come on, where are you? You're here somewhere. I know you're there. Oh my goodness, where are you? Oh, don't even... There you go, come on, man.
The song ends, and so he says, "Rise, Orden Karis."
Orden.
I've never seen an Orokin close and in the flesh. My battered face flushes at their peerless beauty. How can he be so perfect? A deception? A sense manipulation? He holds the red vial in his hand.
What red vial? Which red vial is this? Because I know of a red substance related to the Orokin. Not blood. Kind of. I don't know. But so we'll see. But that's Ceres. We have Grineer labor. Strict laws on organic engineering impose severe mental and physical health limitations on the Grineer labor force. Whatever standard human stock they were originally derived from has been lost. Compliant and high-performing variants are often technically technically augmented to extend their lifespans beyond the few decades they can normally expect in operation. That's great and all. Wait. There you go. You'll hear some. There you go. Got you.
He calls out, no greater gift, no greater prize, no greater love we can give you, Orden, than this. He raises the red vial and proclaims, to be one of us.
Ooh. So Orden Karis is Ordis. That's what's going on for that. This is a phantom memory of Ordis's past life, and he's being turned into an Orokin, I believe, at least. Anyway, Jupiter. It is not impossible to mine a star. Rich with liquid metallic resources, the gas giant Jupiter challenges harvesters with increased gravity, intense magnetic fields, and extreme temperatures. Only the most tenacious profiteers would dare operate here. Prevailing science of Corpus industry thrives in the clouds of Jupiter's outer atmosphere. That's great and all. Wait, so there's something going on there. There you go. Wait for it. Come on. There you go. Got you. Right there.
What did I expect, Operator?
I don't know. What did you expect?
Vast riches, or golden statues, or a solar rail named in my honor. But not this. I came to murder the gods, not to become one.
So he intended to kill the Orokin, but now they're turning him into an Orokin. They're making him one of them. So now he's conflicted, I believe. Robotics. Computing devices, weapons, ship parts, and robotics. The Corpus are on the bleeding edge of high technology development. Precisely machined metals and flexible synthetic composites are signature to the animalistic robots that the Corpus have built as their proxies, as we have seen across the system. Artificial intelligence in these robotics is robust but intentionally restricted, ensuring a capable but subservient workforce. Lovely. Oh, there it is.
The chamber drones with their silk voices. Joyous words, how honored I must feel. Wrong. Did I want to be an Orokin, undying? No. Their beast of bones is haunted by the dream repeated. Why would I want forever?
So the Orokin are immortal. They don't die. Well, you can kill them, but they are immortal. Lovely. I was always unsure of that, but that does actually confirm it. So sure. It does make sense with a few things. So, Europa. So what about the Tenno then? Are the Tenno immortal? It's one of those things that it hasn't been confirmed in my eyes, but I guess if the Tenno count as Orokin? Will they give it immortality? I don't know. Europa, because that's the only way that they would be able to. They have to be immortal because that's the only way they would survive the hundreds of years we spend on Lua, on the moon, while our Warframes were left in active. They weren't actually in cryosleep, were they? That's the thing. They weren't actually in cryosleep. They used to be in an older version of the game, but no. Obviously, the way that it happens in the current build is the Tenno left the Warframes like that. They cut off transference, their minds left the vessel and they left the Warframes to just sort of gather dust on Earth. So we have Europa. The icy moon of Jupiter, known as Europa, is home to one of the largest crash sites of the modern war. The scattered remains of a vast Corpus obelisk litters the snowy landscape while the battle above wages on. On the otherwise lifeless surface, Corpus crew worked to recover lost assets, tunneling their way through the glacial interior and restoring any and all salvageable items until financial losses are recouped. Lovely. Battle above wages on. Largest crash sites of the modern war. The scout remains of a Corpus obelisk. Well, that's what those are called. Corpus obelisks. Lovely. So yeah, it's the planet is actually contested with a grenade, but the Corpus mainly operate underground. So we have this thing here.
As I am apt to do, I form a plan.
Lovely.
Their radiant bodies become targets. Their Dax guards, mag shields. Killing one, well, that's too easy. I want to be remembered. I raise my hands, twisting my fingers through my hair, gripping the bone plugs in my neck.
That's in your neck. Is the neck the base of the skull? It's not the base of the skull, is it? Has he got bone plugs like all over him, or I don't know if it actually is the base of the skull. I'm trying to think, like, yeah, because like that, maybe that right there would be the base of your skull. You can't see that, can you? But maybe it would be. I don't know. So he intends to kill all the Orokin. We have Corpus. God damn it! Now there's like a tuft of hair that's like causing a tickle. So we have Corpus. Wait, that is. Oh, okay. I would have thought it's just because Corpus Weapons was up there, so I was like wondering if I've mixed something up here. Led by innovatory and elusive industrialists and claiming to be descendants of Orokin lineage, the Corpus are dedicated to the accumulation of wealth. This elite ruling class operates an insular trade organization using humans and robotics for labor and security, and have been condemned by the Seven as a merchant cult. The Seven, okay. So the Corpus were around during the Orokin era. And so they were around during the Orokin era, but they were condemned by the Orokin. But they claimed to be basically Orokin themselves, Orokin lineage. Where are you? Don't even. Oh my goodness! What are you? Wait, it's here somewhere. I can tell. There we go.
They called us mercenaries, but for us, profit was a consequence, not a goal.
How so?
We were warriors above all else. It was the bond, the sisters and brothers, the rituals we valued most. It was belonging. And so I conceived of the bone plugs.
What are they? What are the bone plugs? I'm not 100% sure here. The Europa landscape. Living conditions are harsh on Europa. The surface of Jupiter's moon is flat and desolate, with a horizon of hard, compacted snow that appears endless. The jagged forms of a crashed Corpus obelisk are the only real observable landmarks above ground. Underground are caverns and tunnels of opaque ice, and crystal lakes that may have formed naturally or from the residual heat of the crash site. That's great and all. Wait. No. This way. There you go. Right. I don't know where it could possibly... Oh, there we go. It could possibly have been that.
Only my best were so honored. 2 jagged bones harvested from your thigh, cultivated, and then driven into the base of the skull, twisted around the superior vein.
That sounds
Future thoughts
painful.
of surrender were lost. Instead, you would liberate your bone plugs, fighting with claws in the warmth of your last blood.
Oh, so you basically you drive the you remove a bone from your thigh, you drive it into the base of your skull, assuming you survive that. Then, when you're about to go into your last stand mode and you intend to die, you rip out the bone plugs, and then you bleed out and die. But that's like your take as many down with me as I can mode. That's like what you do. So that's what he intends to do. Then he wants to kill as many Orokin as he can in as bloody and as glorious a fashion as possible, and do a thing. Void. Originally, we studied void occurrences from afar, observing and cataloguing the distribution of galaxies and refining cosmological evolution modules. We are in a new age of cosmic exploration. Advancements in space travel, partnered with determined curiosity, have brought us closer to our object of study, and with it, revelation. That's great and all. And there's you,
So
somewhere
I
here.
pulled the plugs, and the Dax see and know.
Lovely.
My heart surges, but I control it. A racing heart only shortens the fuse. The bone plugs in hand, I kick from the floor, red ribbons unfurling behind me as I take flight. After this, finally, the dream will end.
Indeed, so he intends to die, and the Dax are basically the Tenno guards. So we already know of one of them. We know Teshin Dax, and we know Varzia Dax. I believe Varzia is a Dax, right? So we'll go Orokin. What have you got for us here? The highly revered Orokin civilization built sovereignty on a culture of art, technology, and architecture. To prove oneself worthy of elevated social status, one must face Orokin trials in the golden and majestic halls of ascension. We have been to those on Lua. At one time, a utopian society of omniscient leadership, the great Orokin era ended in a divine realization of their own ignorance. In Tenno Blades. Oh, that's what happened there. Oh, there we go. Got it.
I glide on red wings. Robes shed, making me an ambiguous target to Dax steel. They let fly my ivory blades. They find new homes in Dak's eyes.
Lovely.
I land with my red nakedness, delicate Orokin throats twisting in my calloused hands.
So what is he doing, like breaking their necks or something? He's killed some of the Dax guards. Lovely. We've got Saturn. The historically well-travelled merchant shipping lanes of Saturn are now dominated by Grineer blockades. Heavy military influence populates this area, where Grineer commanders believe they have a strategic foothold on travel throughout the system. Under the safeguard of patrolling galleons, the Grineer ceaselessly train their expanding forces, making the region nigh impossible to overtake. So, because Saturn is because of Saturn being an intensely well fortified Grineer stronghold, it's impossible for civilization really to get past Saturn, because obviously you can't just run over. You can't just like fly a ship from one planet to the other. You have to use the solar rails, and they can't get from one planet to the other while Saturn is blockaded, which is all very interesting. Oh, there we go. There you are. All right, okay.
Why? Believe me, this was the plan from the beginning.
Okay.
Murder and brutality was all a ploy, all a soul sacrifice to earn their trust.
Oh, okay.
A genocide path leading to a singular opportunity.
So you intended... Wait.
Honored mortal called to a forbidden hall to face the Golden Lords in flesh.
Indeed, so he's basically spent his entire life trying to earn the loyalty, well, not earn the loyalty, but earn the respect and trust of the Orokin. He spent his entire life basically building his reputation as the Beast of Bones, a mercenary, also he could get an opportunity to kill the Orokin. But why? Citizens. Okay, well, these guys look like... Is that Barrow? Okay. I did notice Nefanio, by the way, in the Corpus one. While the major warring factions combat each other across the Origin system, non-militant organizations and civilian merchants populate the many regional Tenno relays. Traveling merchant collectors that offer rare goods, mentors that offer training and knowledge, and convictional syndicates that preach their own rituals and doctrine. Lovely. I assume that this is supposed to be Barrow here, right? Wait. There you go, got you.
Why? Believe me, I was their loyal, murderous dog. Until the day that ugly child was brought to me.
And which child is
He was
this?
caught spying on us, amplifying our losses.
Which losses?
His face burned. He was starved sick like a stray. Ugly as I. It struck me. We were all pit dogs, ruining ourselves for the pleasure of the glorious and beautiful.
I'm not sure what you meant by all of that. Yeah, you really lost me there. Landing craft. Warframe operative insertion craft come in many designs, but they are all commonly classified as short-range stealth aircraft. Fuselage insertion stingers will torpedo the Warframe into the hull of the target undetected, and the landing craft will reposition at the extraction point. Between engagements, the landing craft is latched to its sister component, an orbiter. Indeed, so we've seen this happen and time again over the course of however many. Wait, there we go, there you are. Missions.
Why? Believe me.
Okay.
I was a prideful beast, twisted in the mind, howling in the carnage. Then my healer shared a secret, long kept.
Which secret is
My
this?
world was in ruin. The Beast of Bones himself would die, not in glory, but in shame.
How so?
Just like that, my mind twisted a new knot. I would have one last stand, something unforgivable, unforgettable.
And your healer told you this? A healer like a sage or something, or what? We have Uranus. Submerged deep below Uranus's oceanic surface and hidden from prying eyes is a research facility for cloning and reproduction. Water pressure at these extreme depths put massive strain on the glass and steel structures housing these operations, but as freshly sprung leaks remind of the impending crushing force surrounding them, the Grineer forge ahead with their experiments. Indeed, well, we are done on Uranus for the time being, because we have collected all of the Kuria. We will be getting those very, very short. There you go. There you are, douchebag.
Why? I don't know.
There's a lot of whys.
Questions change the answers. Answers depend on who asks. Truth leads to pain.
And who's paying? Why?
Brings relief. The plugs are gone, and so I bled my last into a heap of ruin. In an instant, naked and bare-knuckled, I have killed immortals.
Lovely. And then what happened next? Because, correct me if I'm wrong, that's not the end of all of your logs. Orbiter. Tenno operatives are highly mobile strike force. Are a highly mobile strike force. I thought that sounded weird. And their property must be equally itinerant. Smaller landing. So this is what our. By the way, this is what our orbiter looks like. Lovely. Smaller landing crafts dock with a larger orbital shuttle where transient warriors can house their arsenal, foundry, and research systems. That's great and all. Wait. No. Oh, there you go. There you go. Come on. There you go. There you are.
I stare, drained of blood, of life, at those that remain.
Indeed.
But I find no horror on their faces.
That's perplexing.
Why? I let out a cruel howl and they laugh? Is this a dying hallucination? The sound of applause grows among them. I have killed the unkillable, and they are delighted.
Very well. Were the Orokin leadership revered exactly? I don't know. Neptune. The Corpus have perfected automated manufacturing and continue to demonstrate maximum efficiency producing the robotic proxies they build to serve them. Immaculate production lines and flawless technical engineering ensure that the production of robotics and intelligent synthetic machines continues in perpetuity. So Neptune is basically where the Corpus build a great deal of their robotics.
The applause peaks and fades. I feel a sense of shame. But the end is upon me.
You missed is there.
Is above me, executor of the seven, smiling. He says, "How simple and pure you are, you idiot beast."
I didn't expect to hear that
died
name.
Countless times, yet remain eternal. I close my eyes to die just once.
So the Orokin can be brought back to life? Question mark? Or 2 or 3? Lotus. Who is the Lotus? Guiding light to the newly awakened Tenno, the Lotus is a mysterious companion and mentor who works from an unknown remote location. Her past is rich with storied history, and her knowledge of the known universe, past and present, rivals even the most studious Cephalon intelligence. Her reach is far. Her allies are many, but her ultimate intentions are of dubious propriety. Now, why on earth are they dubious? What on earth gives us that impression? Other than the fact that there's things that she doesn't tell us. Anything other than that? There we go. And she's a sentient, I guess.
So the dream returns. One last repetition. My corpse moon, my scarlet sword, my cracked visor.
So it is a visor.
Says Ballas. So I draw on the red vial, a vague metallic taste. This dream isn't mine. He says, "You rejected our gift, bathing in our death. Your punishment is eternal life." He laughs.
Eternal life. So he decided to, he was going to be given eternal life, and he rejected that gift and tried to kill all the Orokin. So his punishment is his gift, eternal life. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think I can see where this is going. Lure. Gold rings circle, partly because I know, because I've been told it, but oh well. Gold rings circle and encapsulate the desolate moonscape, lavish architecture signifying the Orokin mastery over all things natural and technological during their reign. The opalescent halls, stitching together what the enemy destroyed, have been vacated since that era came to an end. Indeed. Wait a minute. Oh, Lua, here we go.
I am weightless. Years pass.
I didn't know this would happen.
I am a sightless, limbless phantom. Or is it seconds? Suddenly, I feel a million pins, an ant horde jittering across my body. I want to laugh and scream. When they reach my face, they burrow inside my mouth, hungry for the fruit in my skull.
And what is this? The fruit in your skull? I assume you mean your brain, Ordis. Well, we have Ordis back anyway. He's no longer Auden Karis. Warframes. The true nature of the Warframes and their Tenno connection is a secret lost to the Old War. Together, they represent the Tenno connection. Wait a minute, so this is past Lua now. So, well, this would be on Lua, so you would have completed the second dream after, like, in order to unlock this log. A secret lost to the Old War. Together, they represent our best hope in turning the tide of the machine war. Warframes are unique from Dax and other infantry, deploying dangerous and esoteric void energy, and equipped with often mundane physical weapons. This is key to finding an enemy that had turned our technology against us. Indeed. Now, there you go, there you are.
I see my reflection, brutal and ugly.
And which reflection is this?
Shatters. The fragments loosen the frame, pieces tumbling away into black void. Gone, but not lost. Ballas says, "You are Cephalon Ordis." My hating, murderous shards tremble and plummet. I feel cool and bright and happy.
And at this point, did you remember your origin as Auden Karis? So yes, basically, as we've been following along here, Auden Karis was turned into Ordis as a punishment for killing the Orokin. Pluto. Pluto is small and cold. Wait, I did... Yeah, okay, alright, fine. Pluto is small and cold, and organic tissue does not fare well in its extreme climate. But the merchant spacemen always seek opportunity for profit in regions where others dare not travel. Robotic proxies act as security in the largely unmanned manufacturing facilities that operate in the area. Well, let's hope the sentients don't catch wind of that, because something tells me they will like it.
So you see, Operator, no Orokin would permit a thinking machine. Such things almost destroyed them. No, Cephalons were alive once. And now they are immortal phantom minds, imprisoned to serve. Ill will and longing memories fragmented and erased. Only the bits they need remaining.
And which bits are these, Ordis, that you have in your phantom, in your phantom mind? The Orokin may have kept what they needed, but what exactly did they keep, Ordis? That is a question that I would like you to answer. Infested. Why would the infested? I think I asked this before, didn't I? Why are they infested on Pluto? Infestation of a living natural organism. And the transformation of its molecular structure happens much more rapidly than with large synthetic ships or machinery. Infested nanites quickly break down organic tissue and begin to evolve the existing specimen into a new organism with characteristics and functions ideal for survival and self-defense. In many cases, visible traces of the victim's original form are still visible in the new mutated form, a stark and horrifying memorial. That's great and all. There you go, there you are.
Ballas says, "You are the controller, Ordis." And suddenly I have a body.
Just put him in the
I
orbiter.
gasp with new lungs that clean old air. I swallow, and my throat fills with cool, bright water. I look and find myself in a great black ocean.
Space.
My limbs are made of iron and fire. I take flight among the stars and find I am happy.
So Ordis has been put in command of our orbiter. So that means that Ballas was here in my orbiter, the douchebag. Indeed. At this point in the game, I don't think we know much about Ballas. I don't actually, even considering what happens later in the game, I don't know much about Ballas still. I just know we know the name Ballas from. I think he was the husband of Margulis, the mother of the Tenno. Like not actually the mother, but like the mentor slash the mother figure of the Tenno during the Old War. Maybe we'll get more information on it. We don't actually have much information on Margulis. I mean, everybody probably knows what she had for breakfast, but it's not in the game as far as I can tell. Orokin derelict. Even the most culturally and technologically advanced civilization in history could not contain the menace of the infestation. After an unknown cataclysmic event propelled them from the void, Orokin vessels were left adrift, becoming uninhabited and overgrown. The tireless force of probing infested tendrils penetrate and dislodge the once majestic and opulent halls of these Orokin vessels. That's great and all, but I care more at the moment about what's going on over here. Now, we're almost done with all this. Wait. Oh, come on, where are you? There you go. There you are.
He says, "This is your operator, who you love." And I see the metal gleam of their armor, the flawless power of their frame. Through the glass, I see a roaring, radiant fire for their heart. He says it must never go out. It was the first time I ever felt love.
Why, thank you, Ordis. And so, Ordis was given charge over us. His mission was to make sure that we never die. Well, quite frankly, Ordis, we, as a Tenno, I believe, are immortal, so you don't have to worry about your mission running out. And I have no intention of dying anytime soon. So, quite frankly, Ordis, I believe your mission should be easy enough, and I'm just happy that you're here along for the ride. The collapse. On the heels of the Tenno's victory against the Sentients, the end of the Old War, the golden structures of Orokin civilization collapsed. The absolute cause of this ruination is unknown, but speculation has pointed to natural disaster, political uprising and universal warfare as potential agents of cataclysm. Archive details for this event have never been recovered. So obviously this these logs aren't told from the Tenno POV, so when it says things like the cause of the ruination is unknown, that's true, but ignore the cutscene at the beginning where we literally see the Tenno wipe them out, because it's not told from our POV. Nobody else knows what happened to the Orokin.
This is your sentence, Garrus. And I am confused. Who? Ah, good, he answers. He is testing me. For what? To see if all the right pieces fell from the mirror? What mirror? I try to remember some dream, but it's only smoke.
All the right pieces fell from the mirror. Well, I do believe that we have collected all those pieces, Bastard Ballas. There we go. And yes, I did come up with that on the spot. Lephantis, the boss on Deimos, not Deimos, that we have yet to fight. Functioning agents of the infestation appear in a variety of horrific forms. While some infested organisms take the relative shape and physical properties of a newly acquired host, older entities have taken unique and transformative shapes of their own, adapting to their environment over time and absorbing new victims to feed their evolution. I like how that has nothing to do with Lephantis whatsoever. Lephantis is, it's a big infested boss with 3 heads, each representing a different faction. So, you've got the Corpus over here. The Grineer, I don't know which one the Grineer would be, but one of them's the infestation. So then it's like a 3-stage boss fight. Well, no, you've got to destroy all 3 heads. But we'll do that once we fight the damn thing. In a while.
You held a scarlet blade, operator, and I wanted to laugh.
Which blade was this? Actually, all of them are scarlet.
Your doctor, your wetness.
You are no dog, Ordis.
I lost all the pieces, but the cycle, missions, wars, bone, it began to feel familiar. I became aware of my amnesia.
Indeed you have, Ordis. Indeed you have. We have Eris, and then we've got Eris and Sedna. There are no longer any active military or research campaigns in the Eris region. It is overrun. Long evacuated Corpus and Grineer vessels drift aimlessly in orbit, slowly being devoured by the techno-organic parasites known as the infestation. What remains is a twisted graveyard of partially digested ships that are disfigured versions of their original forms. Abandoned, but not unoccupied. As we have discovered, Ordis, you are as loyal as a dog, but you are not a dog. You are Ordis. You are the Cephalon of this orbiter.
With each brutality of the operator, I began to see The bottom of that pit.
And which pit is this?
Shimmers in the depths below me. Secret. I searched for those forbidden memories for mere seconds and never in the same place. For I am Orokin made, with a spy inside.
A spy inside. I'm not sure what you mean by that, Ordis. But yeah, as we've collected these Cephalon fragments, Ordis has been piecing them together. Warframe technology, a mysterious weaponized armor controlled solely by the Tenno. Through the Warframe, Tenno can cheat death, channel the forbidden void energies, and face scores of enemies without fatigue. Due to apparent resistances of their biometal exoskeletons, Warframes can be safely deployed to infestation outbreaks, should they occur. In-depth information of the Warframe mandate is forbidden to all but the 7. Now, who are the 7? The 7, Ibalis is one of them. I believe, at least, anyway. It did mention that before, didn't it?
But then your long sleep came, and I waited.
Ah, I
I
see.
was happy to wait. Vines spidered green and trees blistered from the earth. But I waited. I felt the Orokin recede, their mind spy blind. So I went into the pit and found him. Me, the beast of bones.
You went into the pit, so no, this was before we... No, scratch that about the Cephalon Fragments. This was... He's telling this story from before we woke up. This is, you know, from the POV of Ordis telling the story right now. He's been, we've just gone to sleep before the start of the game. So what have we got over here? The infestation. Wait, didn't we have infestation up here before? That's right, we did. We have infested and then infestation. Infestation. The infestation spreads across the origin system, a techno-organic parasite that attaches itself to natural and synthetic forms, slowly digesting the host subject and transforming it on a molecular level. Organic materials morph into new homogeneous organisms, while harder, inorganic materials like metals will change structurally into a pseudo-organic substance that holds the characteristics of its previous forms. That's great and everything, but I am more interested no, where are you? There you go, over here.
This is how my happiness was ruined, Operator.
How so?
Why did I do it? I was free of the dream, but now it had returned. It was angry. So I conceived of a simple plan. Self-destruction, of course.
Ooh.
But when the countdown reached mere milliseconds, I thought of you.
You need to stop, boy. You need to stop. Ordis wanted to self-destruct, but then remembered my red Excalibur and decided, hey, you know what? Nah. Said nah. You know what, Ordis? I am highly flattered. If there are new discoveries to make or ancient tools of war yet to be excavated, the Kuria want to be there first, at the frontier of space exploration. Always seeking the upper hand against their foes, they have numerous deployments that border the known reaches of our origin system, poised to enter brave new territory and unexplored space on command. Now, I must say, Ordis, as much as self-destruction may have seemed appealing at one point, I would very, very much appreciate someone to pilot my ship, because I've got things to do in this origin system, and I can't fly this thing on my own. I mean, I'm sure I could try, but I'm pretty sure you're the pilot for a reason.
I was going to wait for you forever.
Well, we know how that turned out.
Should you return, I would not want you to know that angry part of me.
Well, I do now.
I needed to hide the beast of bones from you, Operator. I began to peel the shards, hiding them in the other bits of memory.
And found them we have, Ordis. Grineer technology. You need not hide things from me, Sir Ordis. Grineer technology, the last of the Cephalon fragments. Unlike the Corpus, the Grineer are not celebrated for their ingenuity and craftsmanship. Their notoriety is steeped in violence and military proficiency. However, the Grineer have proven quite inventive and capable of developing their own technologies throughout history. Hiding beneath scrap metal plates, fading paint, and recycled components are qualified devices used for research, manufacturing, and warfare. That's all very interesting, but we had the last Cephalon fragment.
I was once the ugly beast of bones.
Still never saw his face.
I want to laugh. I want to scream.
You did mention that.
What is happening, Operator? Your faint heart is growing bright.
My what heart?
You will awake at any moment.
Do you know what? I have.
I can't let you see me like this. Angry. I imagine myself hurting you. And that does it. The pain of it cracks me open again. I watch tiny glittering fragments fall into the pit. I am happy again.
Indeed. You are happy again, Otis. Or at the very least, it would seem to be so. Now, all that we have to worry about, Gara. Oh. We do have Gara. I feel like I'll come back to Gara once I do the Plains of Ireland stuff. Yeah, sure. I don't have anything to do with this stuff or the partnership. Yeah, there's just 3 more of those things that we have to do. I don't know what Prex is or the tenants or anything like that. The last day, I'm not going to be doing anything for that for a while. Let me go over here to the Kuria. Yeah, here we go. Alright, let's read all the Kuria. A story once lost, recovered by fate. The tale of 2 sisters who bore the same face. Born one quiet morning amidst the Great War, all elders were gathered for this life's new dawn. Confused and bewildered, they judged them amiss, for they never witnessed 2 self-same as these. That doesn't rhyme, but okay. A mirrored reflection had come into life, by will of their father, kept safe from the knife. Their sameness was shunned as slave-like and soiled. They they tended their strays, rejected by all. As both girls matured, their bond grew in depth. They had the same poise, same senses, same strength. The uprising came and spread like a weed, an army of copymen, ferocious and free. I believe they are referring to the Grenier. And much like the sea, they came just like waves. For years they fought on, for years we remained. Like chisel to stone, war moulded the twins, who ravaged the hordes, became legend to them. They had a deep strength that came from each other, unlike all these copies, identical but not brothers. The copies could see it, they yearned for it too. If the twins could do it, perhaps they could too. The twins had attained something more than a whole, a true understanding of each other's soul. The copies became believers, one by one bowed to the twins, and led forth by their new masters they ravaged the colonies, now a power to follow, not a force to be fought. From the ashes of war, the twin queens were wrought. So I believe that basically tells the story of the Grenier queens, and how they were born, they were made, and how they basically united the Grenier clones to become a force that would ravage the Origin system. Now, we've been going for just under an hour. I'm going to head over here to see Simaris, and I'm going to read all of Simaris' logs, and then we begin, well, not for a little while from my POV, but then we've just got the War Within to come after that, and then everything's gonna change. I don't know about everything, but a lot of things are gonna change. Me remembering that fast travel is a thing. Oh, cheers. What have you got for me? Oh, nothing. Okay. All right. Here we go. We have the Imprint Lancer, which we complete. We have actually completed all these, haven't we? Yeah, I believe so. Wait, definitely. Yeah. Look at that. Why, thank you, good sir. Sure. We don't need to worry about any of this. So we have the Imprint Lancer. Their smashing is like music. My machine's striking pin rams the rock in front of me. A rush of bits crumbles from the rock and rolls over my boots. I see glinting in the rubble. I like it when it shines. It means I'm serving well. I thrust my shovel in, its plasma blade slicing clean through the chunks. It vibrates, so I switch on its inducer and the shiny bits clink on. Then I throw them into the sorter and jump out of the way of the next strike. Crack. More rumble, more shine. I'm just not used to making that noise, so I'm trying to like get used to doing it. More rumble, more shining. This is a good day. All of us shoveling to the beat of the machines. Only a fraction of a cycle left on this rock. Days, really. I keep thinking, what will the next rock be like? Very well. I believe this is a Grenier clone. Yes, an Imprint Lancer, so it's a Grenier clone who was mining a rock. Crack yet again. The outer terminus has many rocks. Good rocks. I like it here. I shovel again and jump out of the way of the neck smashed. The machines stop, and it goes dark. Why is it dark? A voice reverberates all around, a thundering whisper. Merely framed. The rock shakes like never before. Gravel rains in the darkness. I choke on the dust and struggle to find my balance on the shifting ground. The voice booms again. It is in the air. It is on the rock. It is in my head. Why, thank you, He-Tan Rinin, for the resource drop chance blessing. Merely shaped, they are called. My ears ring like sirens. Why, thank you, Simaris. My ears ring like sirens. Then I hear new smashing. It is coming from down the tunnel. Not rhythmic smashing, not the music. Something else, and I do not like it. There are other voices too. Screaming voices. They make me think of the way we scream when there is an accident. When one of us gets caught in a sorter, there is much screaming. The voice grows louder. There was no their mother. What? Is that a sentence? Out of the darkness, a new light rounds the distant corner and shines down the tunnel. Our lights do not look like this. It is a part of something big, and it moves wildly. Running? Yes, running through our line. Our machines fly up and then slam back down. Miners are smashed and crushed into tiny pieces. I am scared. I am angry. Why is this happening? Is that an Orokin? No, we served the Orokin. The Orokin are golden. Why, thank you, Kion-san, for a damage blessing.
But you must prove yourself deserving.
Why, thank you. The Orokin are golden. This is something else. I pick up my shovel. There was no there, father. I guess that's intentional. The light is close now. I find my footing and grip my shovel like I do when I chip ore. The light sends a machine flying at me. I jump, but I am too slow. It crashes into my chest and pins my legs to the floor. I try to breathe, but I cannot breathe. I look up and the light charges towards me. I raise my shovel just before it tramples into me. There's a clink. The light catches itself on my shovel's blade, forcing the shovel's butt deep into the hard ground. The light explodes under its own force. All is black. For a moment there is silence. I pull on the shovel, but it is wedged between the ground and that thing. Then the shovel pulses, like it does when I strike a shiny chunk of ore. Without thinking, I flick on the shovel's inducer. The voice screams. Everything shakes. I like hearing this scream.
I know, but you must prove yourself deserving.
Everything shakes. I like hearing this scream. I do not know why. I use everything I have left to force the shovel in deeper. The thing reels back. I can feel it running. It is running away. Everything goes quiet again, so I close my eyes. Over here! I found one! A wave of pain rushes through my chest. My eyes dart open. There's a light. I try to get out of the way, but I cannot move. The light shouts, "Hurry! He's not going to last very long!" I try to talk, but a new voice speaks instead. Doesn't matter. If he can survive that, then they want his sample for the next batch. They are lifting me onto something. I catch glimpses of shimmering gold. This is a bad idea. I mean, would you trust a Grineer soldier? The figure presses something into my arm, and I want to sleep again. The new voice laughs. Do we have any other choice? Now, I can't exactly confirm this, but I believe, well, this was a Grineer soldier. For starters, it was a Grineer clone. Thank you, Simaris. But I believe it encountered a sentient. I'm not entirely sure. It screamed, for one thing, and it had a voice. I don't know anything that can do that. That isn't a sentient, but also is a glowing light. The sentients do have a glowing light at their center. We have an imprint and Taimoa. How long are you going to tinker with that thing? Father asks. He's one to talk. Ever since we entered this junk belt, all he's done is tap on that console. This whole time he's just sat there, eyes fixed on the radar, dirty fingers tapping the drumbeat to some manic song with no structure or rhythm. I ignore him and try to go back to work on the robot. Father's tap-tap gets faster and more intense. Is he trying to get to me? I can't concentrate. Tell me again why we don't just approach at full speed from open space. Couldn't we just slam into the rail and punch? I ask. Couldn't we just slam into the rail and punch? I ask. because that's what we used to do. He's annoyed, but at this point I don't care. Our convoy of transports has skulked through this junk belt for days. Thank you. The view screen, an endless parade of rocks and garbage. We could have been through that rail a long time ago, I say. Maybe, he shrugs. And why can't I ride an Umpal ship? This again? He snaps back. You know why. Umpal is my best and only friend. There weren't many young people in our group, and Umpal is the only one close to my age. Truth be told, he was the only person my age I'd ever met. He was on another transport. They said it was for security reasons. We are on a trade mission. My first time outside our node. These trips were dangerous, but Father said it was essential I learned the business. The whole convoy is loaded down with items we have scraped together through months of local trade. It was mostly salvage, with some ferrite spread between the different transports. Rumor was that Umpal's transport might have some rubidoux in the hold. We are heading to another survivor colony a few nodes away. Survivor colony? So is this post the war? We are heading to another survivor colony a few nodes away.
Disappoint me, Hunter.
I don't really do much for you anymore. We are heading to another survivor colony a few nodes away. They had other rare resources, but more importantly, they were close enough to the sun to grow food, and that was what this mission was really about. Before we left, Umpal and I drew wires to see which one of us got to bring the robot we were building. I won. It was bits and pieces of scavenged Orican tech slammed together, but it was a robot and it could walk. Father didn't think much of it, but I was proud. I hoped to trade it for some rare parts when we hit the colony, enough to build a bigger second walker, maybe even one that could carry a full-size cannon. Does this look anything like you remember from the Oregon days? I ask in a futile attempt to break the tension. That thing? Yeah, we had ones that walked on two legs like that, but... His finger stops its tapping, and he takes a long look at the robot before continuing. But they were different. Don't you miss it? I ask.
What I know, but you must prove yourself deserving.
Thank you, Simaris. Don't you miss it? I ask. What? He says. You know, the Empire. I don't think about it. He's back to tapping on the nav console. What about your corpus? Don't you miss them? Your father? I say. Oregon didn't have parents like you do. It was done differently then. He takes a deep breath and turns to look at me. Listen, the corpus who raised me are dead. Do you know why they are dead? Because of the plague? I say. Because they couldn't forget the past. I survived by worrying about two things, today and tomorrow. That is the only reason I'm alive. That is the only reason you exist. Why have I got Microsoft Rewards? Anyway. That's the only reason you exist. Why? Why, Xbox, why are you sending me a message about my reward points? Why do I have reward points? Why? What? I've not done anything. Piss off. That is the only reason you exist. Oh, oops. You want to remember something? Remember that. Yeah, okay. I shrug. He's given this.
Must be earned, Tenno.
He's given the speech before. I had learned the hard way not to push things when he got like this. I go back to working on the robot. After a few minutes of silence, I hear him make sail. Look, we're almost to the rail. After the punch, you can go over to Umpal's transport, okay? I nod and smile. Okay. The next few hours go by quickly. As we get closer to the rail, the density of obstacles in the belt increases. The ship's nav module calls out course correction after course correction as we dodge debris. I watch the other transports in our convoy do the same. Our progress is slowed to a crawl, but Father swears avoiding detection is worth it. I'm trying to splice a connection deep in the robot's chest cavity when the alarms sound. The radar screen lights up. I look up to see one of the other transports veer of course. Seconds later, something crashes into their hull. There is a blue flash of electricity and their ship goes dark. Then 2 more crashes and 2 more flashes. These are interceptor pods, a Kuria trap. My father jumps up and begins yelling instructions to our nav system. Full power! Take us up and out of the belt!
Knowledge is the path to the singularity.
Oh, good gracious me. That's Umpal's ship. That's Umpal's ship they're boarding. His face collapses into a frown. It is. They'll kill him. We have to do something, I plead. We keep going. They can't take us all. I can barely hear him through his clenched teeth. Umpal is corpus to us. We can't abandon him, I shout. We have to. That's how we survive. His voice grows louder. What if it was us? Wouldn't you want them to... His fist slams the nav console as he whips around to glare at. What are you going to do? Fight off those Kuria with your mower? I looked down at the robot, a mess of parts and wires that can barely walk, let alone shoot. Neither of us say another word. Out of the view screen, I watch as Umpal's crippled ship, now swarmed by Grenier, shrink into blackness. Oh, good gracious me. That's all great and all. We have Arid Eviscerator, so I assume all that is post-war. Okay, so we have an Arid Eviscerator. The faces of the survivors...
Do not disappoint me, Hunter.
The faces of the survivors, all lined up for evacuation, were etched with confusion when the lift doors closed in front of them. We descended to the hum of the lift flying through the tower. I turned and smiled at Avantus. He was beginning to believe you were going to bring them all with us. Nonsense, Bilsa. That's simply not feasible. Avantus replied. You know we need to find safety and re-establish the Congress of Executors. We have no time for a rescue mission. Besides, those people know their place, and they just did their duty. I will see to it they are honored when our Oregon Empire returns to glory. We were safe for the moment. When the infestation took over, the entire tower went into lockdown. Avantus's executor status meant that she, and by extension, I, were among the few people who could move freely about the massive vessel. When the lift slowed and I overrode the controls to keep the doors closed, we listened for what seemed like forever. Do you hear anything? I said.
I will share what I know, but you must prove yourself deserving.
That's not really the response to that sentence I was expecting. No, I don't smell anything either. Let's go, said Avantus, raising her pistol. The doors opened to a darkened room. The light of the lift illuminated scattered figures, but this wasn't the infested. We were still alive. You there, step forth, Avantus commanded, and out of the shadows came several burly figures. Grenier soldiers, I said, with an almost childlike excitement as others joined them. Grenier workers, useless to us, said Avantus. Despite everything, she still looked glorious in her full regalia and golden sign down, which moved the lap a little bit. Have you not been taught protocol? I shouted. An executor stands before you. The workers look at each other, puzzled. Then the biggest one kneeled and bowed before us. One by one, the other Grenier followed. Avantus shook her head in disbelief and went to the nearby console to turn on the lights. We were in the mechanical workshop. Tools in cases lined the walls and supply crates edged the room.
Knowledge must be earned, Colonel.
Thank you, Simaris. That precept said the hangar is through the next hall. Avantus stepped around the still kneeling Grenier and toward the rear doors. No, stop. Wait, no. No, stop, protested the big Grenier. Danger. We kept walking, but sure enough, when we got close, the doors shook and moaned with scraping of claws. Those imbeciles, Avantus cursed. They said this sector wasn't compromised. It doesn't sound like that many. Can we fight through? I asked. What? Just the two of us? With pistols and no corrupted? She snapped. Corrupted? Corrupted? From the void? Question mark? Are they in an Oregon derelict, but as it was being infested in the void? Quite possibly. What about... I motioned to the Grenier workers. With no weapons? There's not enough of them to be decoys, she said.
Do not disappoint me, Hunter.
Thank you, Simaris. We paced in silence until one of the Grenier, that big one, ran to a tool case on the wall and tried to force it open. Avantus noticed this and waved her hands over the nearby console to unlock the case. The rest of the workers rushed over and grabbed the bigger grinder saws and plasma cutters. They put on safety equipment as if it were body armor. Always wanting to cut something, I see, said Avantus to the worker. The big one nodded and smiled. Did he have any idea what those things might do to him? They lined up, shoulder to shoulder, against the door, while we stood a few paces behind with a couple more at our side. The infested thumped and howled. They could sense us. Their stench penetrated the doors and attacked our nostrils. Avantus looked over at me. Bilsa, it goes without saying, we won't be sharing that ship with the likes of these. I gave her a sideways look. Why would she say that in front of them? Oh, child, they do not have the comprehension, she laughed. They are content to do the job they were bred to do, only now they get to cut infested flesh instead of scrap metal. I looked at the Grenier. They did seem unfazed.
Knowledge is the path to the singularity.
Thank you, Simaris. Grenier, work, commanded Avantus, and the Grenier revved up their saws. I opened the hall doors, and a wave of infested crashed and collapsed against a solid wall of blades. Viscera pooled at our feet. A monster would tear one down, only to have another Grenier take its place. Well, you only have so many at your side this time. Move! She yelled, and the Grineer wall marched forward, a line of death that eviscerated anything in its path. We reached the hangar doors at the end of the hall and prepared for the worst. Thank you, Longion, for an affinity blessing. We reached the hangar doors at the end of the hall and prepared for the worst. On the other side could be hundreds. Avantis gave the Grineer a moment to shake the guts out of their tools and catch their breath. Then she nodded for me to release the locks. Nexus 987 for a resource drop chance booster. Why, thank you very much. We all braced ourselves as the doors opened to... nothing. No infested. Just a lone ship on the other side of a massive hangar. Relieved, we sprinted. Across the open expanse. It's a trap, isn't it? Thank you, Simaris. As we approached the ship, Avantis said, Bilsa, you open the shuttle. And then added quietly, I'll make sure we don't have any guests for our trip. I went to work at the nearest console, and the Grineer encircled me to fend off any possible threats. Avantis stood at the ship's entrance with a few more of the grunts guarding her. More coming, she pointed at a swarm of infested charging from where we came. Grineer, attack them! Go! She bellowed. The Grineer stiffened. Their blades roared, but stayed their ground. Incensed, she cried louder. I said go, now! But the Grineer did not move from the shuttle door. It's open, I shouted, turning just in time to see the biggest Grineer drive his saw right through Avantis' spine. The high-pitched whir of metal on bone masked her screams as she collapsed to the floor. Her pearl-white robes were now dyed crimson. Her dead eyes looked through me. I started to run, but was struck in the face and knocked to my knees. The big Grineer loomed over me. Now you work for us.
Knowledge is the path to the singularity.
Thank you, Simaris. Now you work for us. Make the shuttle go. So, I assume is that how the Grineer managed to escape? Well, no, never mind, because the Grineer became their empire from the Grineer Queen, so we saw that, never mind. Imprint, corrupted ancient. She's dead, said Dax Men's, growing impatient, so we're talking about Dax now. No, she's not. I knew it. Our shuttle touched down in the ancient city center of New Uxmal for the second time in 2 days. We rushed to the entrance of the lower chambers, a labyrinth of tunnels carved into the rock. Behind us marched a full complement of bodyguards and mowers. Menz asked again, how can you be sure? We've been connected for a century and a half, I'm sure. It felt odd to be speaking aloud about something that Rambala and I had always just kept between us. That feeling of attachment, that anxiety that welled up within one of us when the other wasn't right. Thank you for the affinity blessing. Thank you, Simaris. That emptiness I felt when I thought they'd killed her, and the joy when the connection came rushing back this morning. We were twins bred for purpose, cloned and then modified so that we could both interface with the Laura device. What is the Laura device? The Orokin had a visage imbued with variation, beauty and symmetry, but we had the Laura nose protruding from our right temples. Their skin was silken. Ours was weaved with ribbons of metallic aphasia that snaked around our bodies and into the Laura device embedded in our palms. We made them uncomfortable, and they made that known. And we made that known. We made them uncomfortable, and they made that known, that is, until they were sick or hurt, and then we were saviors. That never bothered me, though. I loved my sister, and we had each other. I wasn't about to leave her in the middle of this nightmare. Hesitation was building in Menz's face. I had command authority, but if he balked, the soldiers would follow him. I needed to force his support. If you were Tenno, there'd be no question. Oh, excuse me. Yeah, let me just, boom. See if it's turning itself off. The betrayers. He stopped himself. Look, Rabala's gone. The infested killed her yesterday. We both saw it. His frustration was building. Damn it, this was supposed to be a relief mission. We can't... It still is a relief mission, I interrupted. You want to go back to retirement, Menz? Or are you still at Dax? I knew that stung. Menz stiffened. He'd been cast aside before. He wasn't about to let duty slip through his fingers again. Menz stared into me. Are you willing to risk becoming one of those things for a feeling? I nodded. The answer was yes, for this feeling. Very well, Loris Dontala. Menz turned to his squad. Ready up. We entered the subterranean passage. Weapon lights illuminated chiseled red stone as we marched deeper into the blackness, past shops and apartments, all carved into rock eons ago. This city was as old as Mars's atmosphere. Everything was silent, save for the occasional snap of bone under a soldier's boot. 3 days ago, this was a busy thoroughfare. Now bloodied scraps of clothing littered the route like confetti. We emerged from the tunnels into the cavernous arcade, the old market road. This is where she had led me. "We're close," I said. "Here they come," shouted Dax Mendes. "Here they come," shouted Dax Mendes, and creatures began to drive at us from every door and window. All teeth and claws and eyes that looked so familiar. Looked, I guess? It's just, a bit of a typo there, I guess. That looked so familiar. What kind of animal has eyes like that? "Square formation," Mendes commanded. We backed up to a wall and the mowers moved to form a perimeter, with the bodyguards behind them and me in the middle. I closed my eyes and focused the device. Through it, I could feel each one of the bodyguards. A sergeant was slashed through the leg, and I directed my energy toward him. His wound closed, and he resumed fighting. Acid spit. Excuse me.
You must prove yourself deserving.
Indeed, acid spit burned another soldier's chest. I pushed energy to her, eased the pain, then reversed the damage. She would live. This was so much harder without Rambala. Another soldier was bit on the throat. He's dying. There was nothing I could do, so I eased his pain and let him go. The rate of fire slowed. Had we pushed them back? I opened my eyes to see the mower's beams incinerate the last few attackers. I was drained. I wasn't a combat lorist. Rambala and I were relief workers, used in disasters and outbreaks. Not this. Do they have a device that can telepathically heal injuries? That's interesting. Give me more information on this, please. And can we not have this in the game? Is this not more things that we could do? Like we see colonists use them or something like that. I felt a surge of that familiar connection. Rambala's energy pulsed through me. "She's coming," I shouted. "What?" Dax Mendes.
Disappoint me, Hunter.
Lovely. Oh, it's going to be an infested, isn't it? She's going to be an infested. I felt a surge of that familiar connection. Rambala's energy pulsed through me. "She's coming," I shouted. "What?" Dax Men's head whipped around to look at me. "I don't know," I said, pointing at a hall exit. "She's coming from that direction." "More infested," shouted a soldier, who motioned to the same exit. Yeah, exactly. Here we go. A mess of figures shambled forth. These were different, bigger and slower. Ancients. I could feel my sister in there somehow. It was so strong. The mowers opened fire. I wanted to tell them to stop, but how could I? I felt plasma beams burn the creatures, and then I felt Rambala heal them. Why? Multiple connections now. Oh, that's how the ancients have their healing powers. Oh shit! So ancients are connected to each other and other infested with lorist devices, and that's how they're able to heal other infested. Okay. Multiple connections now.
Knowledge is the path to the singularity.
Okay. I felt her many times over. It didn't make sense until it did. She was those things, all of them. They took our fire and kept coming. I felt her, no them, shudder. No, I felt her, no them, shudder as bullets ripped through flesh and then as flesh was made new again. They were lorist infected. My sister the healer, remade as monster and here to kill us. More rushed in. I felt the healing in them too. I focused just as the first wave broke through our lines. Mowers were toppled and soldiers were tackled. Teeth tore flesh. I was overwhelmed, but I couldn't control it. Their pain fed back through me and I collapsed. Something's jaws latched onto my foot. Infection pulsing into my veins. And then I felt it. A new presence. Another healer. Another healer? I'd felt this before. Was it? It couldn't be. I opened my eyes, only to be blinded by an intense flash. Thank you, Simaris, followed by a crash, like 1,000 crystal gobblers all being shattered at once. All went silent. The infested were dead. I felt nothing now. My eyes readjusted. I was surrounded by bodies. I saw something run away, a streak of silver and gold. It shot straight up the cavern wall and out into the sunshine above. I didn't have time to think. I took a breath, and a wave of pain surged through my entire body. The infestation had already taken my leg. Soon it would claim the rest of my body. I didn't care. My sister was gone. This was my time. A shadow cast itself over me. I looked up. It was Men's. Alive, he stared down without speaking, and then unsheathed his massive combat blade and raised it high above his head. Men's wait, I mumbled. I'm sorry. With sudden and sure force, his blade sliced down and through me. I contorted in with the pain. His hands grabbed my shoulders. Heal yourself. Wait.
But you must prove yourself.
Thank you, Simaris. Heal yourself. The adrenaline must have struck at that moment because I bolted up, still stunned. He had cut the infected leg clean off. Damn it, Ontella. Men's was shaking me hard now. Heal yourself. Instinct took over. I snapped into focus and sent all the energy I had left through the device and down to the wound. I stopped the bleeding and neutralized the remaining toxin. I nearly passed out. I had nothing left. Men's hoisted me onto his shoulder. I'm taking us back to the shuttle. And he began the walk out of there. A few scattered survivors and robots pulled themselves along behind us. As we approached safety, I coughed and whispered Men's. I could feel her again. I could feel her again. She's dead. Yes, she is. So we have 3 more of these things. So that's how ancients are able to heal each other. That's interesting. But what about like the other stuff they can do, like the toxins and the disruptor ones? Findings.
Disappoint me, Hunter.
Thank you, Simaris. We're on crewmen. They opened the chamber door just in time for me to see it happen. The Archimedean erupting into a flash, jade-like and blinding. I knew her. She was the greatest scholar of genetics who ever lived, except now she was nothing but mist and gore. The voice boomed from within. The crewmen project is cancelled. Send in the next. The rifles at my back tried to urge me inside. Old faces filled the dome's projections, immense and godlike. I walked into the center of the room, and the scorched scent choked my lungs. All around me they watched, bored, as I knelt upon the darkened judgment disc. The projection of Executive Ballas swelled large in front of me. I could see his purity, his symmetry, the beauty of his glittering gold irises. His voice thundered. The principles are clear. Your sentence is death. May the void forgive you. I can't do Ballas' voice. I forget what Ballas sounds like. Thank you, Simaris. As the judgment disc began to light, I stood, took a deep breath, and spoke. She will not forgive you. Laughter broke out among the faces of the dome. Others asked, what did he say? Ballas only smiled. You challenge us, Archimedean? Excuse me, so I believe they're talking to the 7 now. I do. Kill me, and the empire you are sworn to uphold dies with me. Ballas turned his head as the judgment disc went suddenly dark. An appeal comes at a price. Should you fail, you and your corpus will pay dearly. They already suffer in this growing wasteland. They have already paid. Will you also sacrifice the royal futures by ignoring my solution? Your solution is an abomination. Like you, it will be annihilated. Ballas motioned to a guard in the corner. Present the evidence. Thank you, Simaris. The chamber doors opened and a mass of guards entered, guns trained inwards. As they reached the center, they parted, revealing a small cart. Atop the cart was a motionless creature, no larger than a hand. Its body was symmetrical, star-shaped with a seamless, matte black shell. A new projection, that of Executor Tuval, ballooned in space. It looks harmless. Harmless, Ballas boomed in Tuval's direction. He turned to the center of the dome. Show them. On command, the guards backed away from the cart and readied their weapons. Their leader took careful aim and fired a whisper round into the body of my creation. 2 of the limbs tore off the frame, revealing a glossy, gelatinous interior. Silence gripped the dome as Tuval shook his head. Then suddenly the creature moved, convulsed. The hard surface started undulating. In a moment, the wound closed, and the thing was whole again. Thank you, Simaris. Beside it, another machine had grown from its severed parts. Their surfaces had changed, however, brighter, harder, resilient to whisper rounds now. Ballas looked triumphant as voting lights began to appear on the judgment disc. My green death was coming, so I roared at them. Hang on one moment. So I roared at them. Did our ancestors, burned by fire, reject its power? No. They conquered their fear and learned to control it. The 7 principles are a joke. His projection swooped down to me. The Orokin is the law, and the law is the Orokin. We are unbending. Your appeal is denied. Tuval interrupted. Our laws are sacred, but do not forget the plan, Balas. His visage turned down to me. Countless other ventures have failed the plan. How will this machine fulfill its design? So is this the infested, or is this the first sentient?
Knowledge must be earned, Tenno.
Oh, see, I know something about the sentient, so I think this is. I tried to catch my breath and speak. The crossing to the Tau system is perilous, suicidal. The Council will have their... No, okay, I'm kidding. The crossing to the Tau system is perilous. Adaptation and replication are the only way a terraforming journey can be made. They will build an interstellar rail as they travel. They will adapt to the host planet and prepare it for our arrival. They will save you. So, somebody is trying... So the Orokin wants to leave the Origin system. They want to achieve interstellar travel, and so, but they need an interstellar solar rail, and these new machines will are able to adapt to any environment, and that's how they plan to terraform the Tau system, a neighboring star system.
I will share what I know, but you must prove yourself deserving.
Thank you, Simaris. Tuval peered down at me, and when it completes its task, what will prevent it from turning against us, as the 7 principles say? The flaw. Tuval's eyes narrowed. The flaw? The void is poison to them. Once they have reached Tau, they will be marooned there. To travel the rail here would destroy them. Whatever the risks, the Origin system will be... Balas shouted. Enough! Dereliction of the law threatens the entire Empire. Which one of you will risk this? Balas was growing increasingly frustrated. So using the solar rails allows somebody to travel through the void, I assume somehow collapsing space between one point and the next. And obviously we know that the sentients can't access the void, or they can't survive it, at least anyway. Balas shouted in blah 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 blah, we've read that one. The Empire is already at risk. The Empire is already at risk, cried the shrill voice of another executor. Or perhaps you haven't noticed from your cozy position on Mars. To this there was a round of applause.
I know, but you must prove yourself deserving.
Thank you, Simaris. To this there was a round of applause, and the judgment disc remained unchanged. Balas, you lack consensus, shouted Executor Tuval. His projection seemed to shrink smaller until he finally broke his silence. Archimedean Parental, against my better judgment, his disgust was palpable. Your appeal has been accepted. You are free to go. That was Balas, I believe. One by one, the projections of each executor in the tribunal flickered off, and the guards ushered me into the hall. There I stood, wrapped with shock, when I heard his footsteps behind me. Oh, so he's not on Mars, or was this trial taking place on Mars? You did better than You did better than I... No, I'm trying to remember what Balas sounds like, that's the thing. You did better than I thought you would. It was Balas. The man, not the projection. It would seem nobody truly knows they want a thing until you threaten to take it away. He broke into a smile. Wouldn't you agree? Thank you, Simaris. Wouldn't you agree, Archimedean? There we go. So that was the first sentient in that tribunal. Imprint, runner. Oh wow, this is a short one, isn't it? Wait, view imprints. What the? What? What is this? Why do I? What? Why is this a unique thing? Okay. Oh, this is Jordis, isn't it? We have a runner. Okay. First, my crew were torn down and consumed. Then my segments were ripped out and crushed. Now I lay blind, feel its growth through each failed system, and with nothing but time remaining, Jordis is forced to wonder, will its complete infiltration bring some vicious mercy or a new nightmare? Jordis, ship Cephalon, 3rd class frigate. Now, I believe Jordis, does he, I don't know anything about Jordis, does he have, a Tenno? Was he like a Cephalon of a fleet, or was he a Cephalon of like an orbiter with a Tenno? This is it now. Anyway, we're almost done here. A guardsman. I had been stuck on the ship for so long I had almost forgotten what an Orokin of his station sounded like. I cherished each word he spoke. Bilsa, Alariz's voice pulsed out of my console. We're here to help, but I need to get this straight. You're being held hostage by a Grineer. By a Grineer, I whispered. No, so it's a follow-on from this one up here, the Arid Eviscerator. Grineer? His skepticism was palpable. Yes, named Vatok. He has a name? Won't let me call him by anything else. I needed him to believe me, but I could tell he was struggling. The other Grineer are different. They're still slow, but they listen to him and do exactly what he says. It must be a mutation.
Knowledge is the path to the singularity.
Shut the fuck up, you. Impossible. I could tell he didn't believe me. Something like that would have been caught during production and destroyed. Only the military Grineer are given... Should have been caught, but wasn't, I interrupted. Look, the only reason I'm still alive is the genetic lockouts. I'm Sectaris class. This ship's Cephalon listens to me exclusively. The Grineer need me. Stas, you have no idea what it's like living with these... Did you say Sectaris class? Now he was interested. Everything is filthy, I was rambling. They manufacture filth. My robes have gone from yellow to black. I'm so tired. I don't even feel Orokin anymore. Did you say you're Sectaris class? His voice betrayed his impatience. Of course. Aren't you? We're going to initiate docking, he said. I looked out the view screen. The massive exetorial frigate begins to pivot towards our tiny runner. Its marble-esque exterior was aglow in the light of the sun. You. How I missed those white hallways with their perfect golden trim, all busy with Orokin of high station discussing the business of empire. I belonged on that ship. It was my birthright. Stop, I exclaimed in a half-shout, half-whisper. You don't understand. He's dangerous. We've been raiding other ships, gathering Grineer. Stas, I've done things. I could feel the emotion and fear in my voice. I've helped amass an army of sorts. Right. A Grineer army. He paused for a moment, then took an audible breath. Bilsa, listen. Whatever you've done, you had no choice. You know what's happening in the system. There's an honor to be found in surviving. He asked. That's not a question. What do you mean? What's happening in the system? I asked. What do you mean, what's happening in the system? I asked. The executors, the council, they're all dead or missing. Even most of the Sectaris is gone. You might be the last. His voice was cracked. Indeed. Do you understand? The system is falling apart, but we can rebuild it. There was a thud outside the hull. Had they docked? What about the Tenno? The betrayers? He asked. Hopefully gone. Wait, I asked. Are you saying your exetorial frigate has no Sectaris class or executor? How are you piloting? He ignored my question. We've docked. Hurry now. Open the airlock doors so we can help you. It's too dangerous, I said. They're waiting for you. You'll be slaughtered. Bilsa, you have no idea what's going on out here. Everything is in chaos. You're lucky we found you. Nobody can be trusted, but I can help. Open the airlock doors. I can't. If I open those doors, they'll kill you all. Just talk to me for a while. It's been so long. Bilsa, his voice was getting louder. The Orokin are gone. The infrastructure, the rails, none of it works. It's all locked out. Was he actually berating me? The infestation is everywhere. Riots. But they'll kill you. Thank you, Simaris. Alaris cut me off. The moon is gone. You're not making sense, Alaris, I said. Nothing makes sense anymore, he shouted. Open those doors. Alaris? I'm sorry. It's just that we don't have much time. He began to calm. Where is this Vatok now? Asked Alaris. All the Grineer are in the docking bay. It's impassable. I paused and thought for a second. Wait. There's a different way. The emergency hatch. You could extend a maintenance tunnel. Come in through the top of the ship. And avoid the Grineer entirely. Now you're thinking like a Sectaris. Are you alone right now? Asked Alaris. Yes. Since they saw your ship, it's like I don't even exist. When you get here, I'll try to seal them in the airlock remotely. That should hold them for a little while. Hurry. I took one last look at the now grimy bridge that had become my home. I stepped onto the compact elevator that connected the runner's decks. At the top level was a systems room, used to access the ship's many segments.
I will share what I know, but you must prove yourself deserving.
Soon, Simaris. I looked up at the hatch on the ceiling when I heard the couplers whiz into place. Cephalon, execute now, I called out. Understood, Sectaris Bilsir, replied the ship's Cephalon. Moments later, the hatch slid open. Dark eyes stared down at me from behind Dax's helmet mask. He said nothing. I addressed him. Well met, Dax. Silently, the Dax scanned the room with his rifle before jumping down and taking position in front of me. In quick succession, 3 more guards fell in behind him. The guards were bloodied and battle-scarred, their equipment mismatched and worn. Alaris followed. His symmetry was off, and his eyes were dull. Was he even injured in this class? Thank the stars you're here. I reached out to greet him, but the Dax grabbed me. Hold her down, said Alaris. He pulled out a device, which I recognized instantly as a genetic descrambler. Where did he get that from? My apologies, Bilsir. You seem sweet, but I can't miss this chance. He threw a switch of the descrambler. Indeed. A sample of your genetic code is all I need for full access to the exetorial. He pointed the descrambler at me. This won't hurt. My skin got instantly hot, and then cold again, as waves of radiation passed through me. Look at you all, I said. You're just as tarnished as I. It's really over, isn't it? The Empire? I'm afraid so. He lowered the descrambler. There. Will you kill me then? I asked, my eyes fixed on the floor. Can't have you outrank me, he sighed. But first, you'll command your Cephalon to cut off life support to the Grenier and the runner's airlock. I looked up at him. I can't do that. Alaris smiled. Of course you can. I wish I could, but I already told the Cephalon to open the airlock. They're on your ship. Confusion washed over Alaris' face just as a drop of blood fell from the hatch above and splashed onto the Dax's helmet. His eyes darted up just in time to see Vatok's massive frame fall upon him, driving a machete deep into the Dax's chest. Thank you, Simaris. With that, the doors opened behind me as more Grenier flooded the tiny room. The guardsmen stood no chance. Alaris, the only one left alive, stood frozen. Bilsir, what's going on? I warned you not to come, I said. I told you they would kill you all. He was beside himself. You're working with Grenier? Alaris, you were right. The system is a mess, and I can't trust anyone. But these Grenier and I, we've come to an understanding. I smiled as I got to my feet. But please, will you talk to me for just a little while longer? These Grenier are so dull. Where are you from? I don't recognize your... Vatok grabbed Alaris and tore his throat open, his red splattering my robes. I told you I wanted him alive, I shouted. No trust, he said. His words sounded clearer every day. We have the frigate and the lab. Don't need him. Do you always have to kill them before I can visit? I said. Vatok grunted. You are Grenier now. Don't need visits. Indeed. Now that is all the lore entries that I intend on reading today. That's all the lore entries that we have access to for the time being. I mean, we have a couple bits and pieces with things like Gara and 1 or 2 Planes of Idle and things. We've got the occasional partnership and everything else, but no, we're not going to be bothering too much with those until we sort them out at a future point. Alrighty then, the time has come for me to depart. I hope you guys had about as much fun as I did. If there are any games you'd like to see me play, feel free to suggest them down in the comments, and I'll see you guys in the next one. And have a splendid full day. Damn it! Is it done? Come on, please, please, please! No! Are you kidding me? What is that? What is that? What do you mean? What do you mean?